Hi, everybody. My name is Kelly Amstutz. I am the genealogy investigator. Today, I just wanted to bring you guys just a quick little video about 6 signs that it's time to get help from a professional genealogist. When we're finding out our family lineage, it's really a matter of the heart. But what we could uncover, I mean, it really could redefine history for you, for your family, how you look at things moving forward, especially with DNA. It is pretty new, but everybody seems to be, really jumping on board. And you just want to be careful with like what you might uncover, and you have to kind of prepare yourself for that as well. So when we learn about our ancestors, we're essentially learning about ourselves, and we're doing that through their past. We can go back to times, before we were even thought about, because it's so unfamiliar, and we can go back there again and again. And it just kind of becomes like a passion for us just to uncover what we can about the way our ancestors used to live and about that history and that foundation that they laid. Genealogy can really give us a look back into like that old restless town. Maybe our ancestors once settled there. It could take us back to the different kinds of foods that they used to make or bake. And we might even still be familiar with them today. So it can be kind of cool to just see where that path leads. When we're thinking about our children, back in different times, they would have little to nothing. For us, it can be kind of hard to imagine not having the means to put food on the table or to buy our children school clothes every year. And times were just very different. One story that's always been told in my family is my great great grandma, she would go to the store for breakfast. She would go to the store for lunch. She would go to the store for dinner. We're lucky if we go to the store once a week. So it's just kind of neat to kind of put those pieces into play and just kind of see how that the world changed during that time. So genealogy, it really can give us a little taste and have us jumping through rabbit holes at the same time just to find out more and more. And next thing you know, you're utterly obsessed. And you're gonna want to turn back the clock. Just to see our ancestors in their true form. It's one of those things where you start off small and you just start digging and you can't stop. I recently met with a client who was really harboring this deep yearning to find out where she came from. It's a story that, like we all can relate to. She started hitting brick wall after brick wall, and she was finding this illegitimate ancestor. Her abilities to navigate these different records, these kind of obscure records, if you may, and the genetic genealogy part that she was kind of diving into just to learn more, her experience was pretty limited. And with every twist and turn, she kept finding herself more and more confused, and she was spending way too much money trying to search for the answers. One day she just kind of realized that she needed someone to help her navigate, an expert, professional genealogist. So a few short months later, I actually had the opportunity to look at some of the traditional records and her DNA results. I was able to write up a research report that just kind of answered some of the questions that she had, just things that she was searching for years and years. And it was really a cool opportunity because I saw her smile as she's like thumbing through everything she's going through, and like questions that she had, she's like, oh my gosh, you answered this, oh my gosh, you answered that. And like the relief just kind of floated off of her, which is what it's all about. But I guess my question for you is, how do you know when it's time to take that leap? How do you know that you should bring on an expert and let them into your family history and the research that you've done, because it can be pretty scary, a little ominous. So I came up with 6 signs to look for when it's can be time to level up and look for help. My first sign is you're at the point of sheer frustration, and you have been for some time. When you're attempting to build your family tree, and you start finding yourself frustrated, discouraged to the point that like, it overshadows all the excitement that you've had, then it's time to hire a professional genealogist. Researching your family, it can be super demanding, especially when you're dealing with historic documents. Maybe they're in a foreign language, maybe they're unindexed, maybe they're an old script. Professional genealogists who specialize in specific subject matter, they're going to be equipped with a more wider variety of resources than perhaps a less experienced genealogist may have in their arsenal. And this goes with geographic locations as well. My client had reached out after hearing from a friend about what I do. I research family lineage and I do DNA consulting. I have my own toolkits, some uncommon databases that I use. They're not really widely known within the genealogy community, but I know exactly where to begin my research with my clients, and I kind of base that on what they provide me. So that initial search, it really led to potential candidates for that illegitimate child's father. That kind of opened up some more sources for me to find information that really had frustrated my client for years and years. So, it's just kind of what each person has in their arsenal that does genealogy, and we never have the same things. But that's kind of like what makes the world go round. So the second thing is you're spending so much money and you're really not getting anything back for it. It kind of sounds a little bit weird, but hiring a genealogist, it actually can save you money in the long run. If you've been out on your own for a while, you probably spent endless hours, and your time is precious. Let's just be honest. You probably spent dollars here, dollars there, just on subscriptions. There's databases, there's, this, that, and the other thing. Maybe you signed up for a course, maybe you've got a collection of genealogy books going, supplies, software, all that stuff adds up. Don't get me started on copies either. So they do provide a great deal of value, and I'm not discrediting that, but they can add up too. Especially when you're not finding the answers that you are searching for. They're not doing you any good. So that could mean that it's time to spend money where it really counts on someone who knows where to look. Hire a professional genealogist for even a few hours. It could really be the break that you need just to get your research moving in the right direction. It can save you money. It can save you unnecessary expenditures. It can even give you some additional guidance on where to go next with your genealogy research. And it's kind of like a second set of eyes, and sometimes it's all that's all it takes, which sounds super weird, but it's so true. So my third thing is if you just keep hitting brick walls. I said my client just was hitting brick wall after brick wall after brick wall. That's so frustrating. I totally know. If you're a genealogist, like you can't avoid it. It happens. But we've all said it at one point in our research. I've hit a brick wall. Help. And more than not, you do, it happens. I hit brick walls in my research all the time. It's just a part of the journey. When you're creating timelines, like you're looking at those family relationships, it happens, and it happens to the best of us. While every brick wall is not a sign that you need to hire a genealogist, it does take a trained eye sometimes to get back on track with your family tree research. A professional genealogist, they're going to have the knowledge, the know-how, the experience that you need to help solve some of those confusing puzzle pieces. And then again, it's that fresh set of eyes. It helps to methodically look at your brick wall, maybe see if anything new comes up or stands out. Professional genealogists, they're really excellent resources just to validate research, maybe that's been passed on by other family members, or just to verify your work, just to make sure that everything is checking out as it should. The fourth one is, you need somebody with specialized knowledge. When you're looking at specific time periods, you have to understand the social culture, maybe the customs that are going on. That can be key to any genealogical research project. My clients' objectives, they needed some early 20th century knowledge of the types of records in both the United States and Scotland. I have both in my arsenal. Just because of my understanding of historical context, I was a little bit more well-equipped to analyze her information than she was. And I'm not saying anything about that. It's just that fresh set of eyes. I was able to locate, where her father was likely to have lived after immigrating to the United States. I established a timeline of his life because I knew the different kind of record types that were available during that time period. In most instances, there's really not one vital record that's going to answer all the genealogical questions that your clients might have. And the experience of a professional in consulting different records, it really can be invaluable. Without an understanding of the history and the context of the records that were created during, any given time period that you're looking at, there can be false conclusions that might be drawn. And then misinformation could be gathered based on that. So a professional is going to be like a resource guide. They'll be able to help you through the historical changes and boundaries, governments, languages, laws, just for your specific research project. And that can be critical. The fifth thing is it's really just, you don't have time. With the advances in technology, which are awesome, online databases have grown over the past 20 years. So there's census, there's vital records, so widely available now to the online public that it can lead people to believe that because it's not online, it does not exist. That's so wrong, guys. That's false, 100%. It's 100% not true. The fact of the matter is that digital resources, they are great. I'm not discrediting them at all, but they're still making leaps and bounds. You can only get so far with them in your research. You see, only a small percentage of the records are available online compared to the number of records that are still being held in local or state repositories. In a lot of cases, the only way to find information is to access the original records on site. And it could be one of those hidden gems that, can really reveal the information that you or your client have been seeking. Unfortunately, it requires time, travel, and it can require money. It is more cost effective, though, to hire a local professional genealogist who's well versed in what records are in what repositories. It can really be beneficial in holding the answers to those research questions. Those genealogists are going to understand the different languages, but they're also going to be able to navigate the facilities, which is going to cut down on the amount of time it's going to take to pull those records. And then finally, the sixth sign, you're not taking advantage of everything that DNA has to offer. I'm a DNA consultant, so I have to touch on it. An ever-growing field is genetic genealogy. Most people really have no idea what to do with the results once they receive them back, besides scrolling through to see matches, maybe attempt to figure out why we show up as 5% European. Understanding how to combine the scientific and the historical documentation, it can really be a huge roadblock for those who just don't know what to do with it. Genetic genealogists like myself, we are trained in how to utilize your DNA data in order to aid in solving your genealogical puzzle. So I don't just use DNA results. I do back everything up with my research. Because genetic DNA requires just a different skill set from traditional genealogical research, it can be super valuable to seek the help of an expert just to help find the different kinships and identify the different connections. With my client, the genealogical questions that she had stemmed from both traditional genealogy and genetic genealogy in order to prove the paternal identity of her illegitimate ancestor. My research efforts, they went well beyond my client's expectations. I was able to find the living descendants of not only the potential immigrant father, but I was also able to find the subject's brother, some nieces, some nephews, and the potential father was huge. She gained, new living relatives. She achieved her ultimate goal of learning more about her grandfather and his Scottish ancestry. So she was like over the moon, and that's the best feeling in the world for me. So those are my 6 signs that it could be time to hire a professional genealogist. I do want to mention that on my website, if you join, you can have my newsletter sent to your inbox weekly, which is basically my blog post. And then I also want to note that I do have a course that allows hobby genealogists to really level up. It's for beginners and experienced genealogists in the same. So I had a passion for research, a background in history, and I was just really stuck. I was in a corporate job. It was great, but I just felt like something more was where I needed to go. Like I just felt like I wasn't helping. Felt like I wasn't living my best life. I just felt like I was meant for something so much more. So I started my family tree journey as a hobby genealogist way back in 2001. And the bug just never really left me. It wasn't until I really sat down, had a heart to heart with myself. I always say I threw spaghetti at the wall. And I was trying to think, like, where does my passion lie? Like, what is my next path? Where is it leading me? And I decided that it was time for me to level up my life. And honestly, best decision in my life. I've never looked back. I started learning my craft. I started digging into my own family history, applying my new skills just to test out how well everything was working. And then I quit my corporate job. I started declaring myself as a professional genealogist. And I think my poor husband thought I had lost my mind. But I knew something had to change. I needed to be here for my kids. I needed to see my husband more. We had crazy schedules, opposite schedules. So we were only seeing each other really on the weekends. And I needed to do something that I was truly passionate about, something that was financially rewarding, something that's always changing and is going to keep engaging me with each twist and turn that I enjoy. So I jumped all in. I started working, the teacher in me kind of started poking out, and I decided that a part of my business plan was going to be to create a certificate course that I could share with others just like me who wanted to take this idea of genealogy and go all in, to be a professional genealogist, to run a successful full-time business. So my course has everything that you need from A to Z. It's in an affordable package that will take you from a hobby genealogist to a professional genealogist. So I just want to share that with all of you guys. I will have the link in the video below. I do keep my class sizes pretty small. It is self-paced. It's a 6-week program that is self-paced, but I do make myself 100% available to all of my students. So I do limit how many students I have seats for, and that's just because I like to give a little bit more individualized attention. So I do have seats available now, but hurry because they don't last. I do close it often. And then I do also want to let everyone know that I do have services. So My services are kind of a wide variety. I do offer a 1 hour introductory risk-free, no obligation consultation. You really have nothing to lose, but just so we can dig in, I can meet you, we can see if it's a good fit. Um, I offer personalized research, reviewing information that's provided by you, the client, just to create a research plan based on that information and to build out our research goals. With that personalized research, you do get a written report of all my research findings, including any negative findings, the absence of records, where you expect to find them, and so forth. You, as a client, you will be provided with all copies, transcripts, abstracts, documents, just so that you can evaluate everything. Communication is really big with me, so I just like to keep my clients in the loop. And then, I make recommendations on further research that we might uncover. I do also provide full service and assistance with family trees and pedigree charts. And then finally, I do offer DNA consulting and unknown parentage searches just to help you as a client understand which type of DNA test you should take, privacy concerns that you could have with DNA handling, interpreting those results once you get them back, and searching for unknown parents or family members through a combination of analyzing the DNA results and the traditional documentary paper trail research. So I always say, I'm the genealogy investigator and I can help you and find answers. I love walking with ancestors. It's a really big thing with me, and just to have the pleasure of walking with your ancestors would make my day. So I do have a lot of different blog posts, so please be sure to check out my website, thegenealogyinvestigator.com, and I do have links below. And thanks for stopping by, and I will see you guys in the next segment.